Salutations to all our future judges. In this 10 minutes lecture series, we are going to see Specific Relief Act 1963. A person can focus in any task for at most 10 minutes, hence this 10 minutes lecture series. Sections from which questions were asked in previous year exams are focused, though major part of the act is covered. You can devise hundreds of minor acts within a day before the exam by following this lecture series. This lecture series would continue only based on your support by way of subscription, likes and views, since it involves tremendous efforts. Part 1 Preliminary, Section 2A. Obligation is a duty which is enforceable by law. 2B. Settlement does not include will or codicil. Section 2E. Words and expressions undefined here shall have the same meaning as defined in the Contract Act. Section 4. Individual civil rights can only be enforced and not penal law. Part 2, Chapter 1. Section 5 states that Civil Procedure Code shall apply to this Act. Section 6 states that there shall be no recovery of portion after expiry of 6 months of disposition, and there shall be no suit of recovery of portion against the government, and no appeal or review on a suit for recovery of portion shall lie, but it shall not be a bar on claiming title to the property along with the recovery of portion. Section 8 states that court shall direct to hand over the portion if the person in possession is agent or trustee, or if compensation of money would not equalize the possession loss, or if it is difficult to determine the actual damage due to loss of possession, or if the possession is wrongfully transferred from the owner. Chapter 2, Section 11 states that if a trustee acts beyond his power or by way of breach of trust enters into a contract, then the contract cannot be specifically enforced. Section 12 states that if a major portion of a contract is performed, then for the minor portion which is unperformed, money can be paid as compensation. And if a major portion cannot be performed, then minor part can be sought to be specifically enforced, and for the major portion, money compensation can still be paid. And if one part of a contract is separate and independent from the other, then the enforceable part can be specifically enforced. And Section 13 speaks about rights against vendor with defective or no title pertaining to both movable and immovable property. In that case, the vendor should make the contract good when he gets the title at a later stage. The vendor should compel the actual owner to make the contract good if he has the authority to do so. And if the property is mortgaged and mortgage money is lesser than the purchase money, then he should redeem and convey it to the purchaser. If specific performance of such vendor is dismissed, the defendant can obviously claim back his deposit money. Section 14. When substituted performance has been obtained, or where court has to continuously supervise the execution of the contract, or where the material terms of contract depend on personal qualifications of a person, or if the contract is determinable. In all these circumstances, the contract cannot be specifically enforced. Section 14(a) 2018 Amendment, court can engage experts. Section 15. Any party in the contract or representative of any party or beneficiary under settlement on marriage or compromise of doubtful rights between same family members, the person who remains to get the title after tenant for life, that is remainder man. The person who gets the possession after the death of the person who owns the possession currently, that is reversioner in possession. The person who gets the title after the death of title holder, that is reversioner in remainder. Amalgamated LLP or company can seek specific performance of contract which was entered before amalgamation. Company can seek specific performance against its promoters warranted by incorporation condition. In all these circumstances, specific performance can be obtained. Section 16. If substituted performance is obtained, or if a person becomes incapable of performance or violates essential terms, commits fraud, etc., and fails to prove that he was ready to perform his part, and if the contract to let out or sell without title, including the movable property, is made, then no specific performance can be sought for in these circumstances. Section 18 states that in case of fraud, mistake of fact, misrepresentation, if the terms are different from what has been agreed or does not contain all the terms agreed, and if the object of contract cannot be achieved without variation, and after the execution of the contract, parties varied the terms. In all these circumstances, enforcement of a contract can be done only with variation. Section 19b states that if a person is a bona fide purchaser and who does not know about the earlier contract, then relief cannot be claimed against such bona fide purchaser, provided he has purchased it for valuable consideration. And substituted performance is stated under Section 20, and it states that third party can perform the contract and compensation can be received from the non-performing party, and even in these circumstances, 30 days notice should be given to the non-performing party before substituted performance. Section 20A states that the court cannot grant any injunction against infrastructure projects mentioned in the schedule. Section 20B states that special courts can be constituted by the state government in consultation with the Chief Justice of the High Court. Section 20C states that the specific performance suit shall be disposed within 12 months. and extension of 6 months can be given provided the court states the reason for the extension. Section 21 states that court can award specific performance and compensation, or without specific performance only compensation, and if compensation is given it shall be in accordance with section 73 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, and no compensation shall be given unless it is mentioned in the plaint, but the plaint can be amended to include compensation. Section 22 states that in addition to specific performance, you can seek prior for portion, partition or separate portion, and even you can ask for return of the earner's money if the specific performance is not ordered. Section 23 states that specific performance can be ordered even if liquidated damages is mentioned in the contract, if such amount is only for ensuring the performance of the contract, but no order for damages can be given in such case. Section 24 states that no separate suit for compensation can be filed if specific performance suit is dismissed. Section 25, this chapter shall not apply to awards under Arbitration and Cancellation Act and will or codicil. Chapter 3, Section 26, either party of the contract may seek contract or instrument to be rectified when it was obtained through fraud or mutual mistake of the parties. However, articles of association of company governed by the Companies Act is excluded under this section. Chapter 4, if a contract is voidable or terminable at the option of the plaintiff, or the contract is unlawful mainly due to the defendant, then under section 27 subclause 1, or if the purchaser failed to pay the purchase money according to the conditions of the decree under section 28 subclause 1, in these circumstances a rescission may be granted. And section 27 subclause 2 states that rescission may be refused if the plaintiff has ratified the violation of the contract, or if the parties cannot be restored to the position they were when the contract was made, or if the third parties acquired rights in good faith, that is a bona fide purchaser, without notice and for value, and if inseverable part of a contract is sought to be rescinded. In all these circumstances, rescission may be refused. And section 29 states that in addition to specific performance, rescinding a contract may also be sought as an alternative prior. Section 30 states that if a contract is rescinded or if order is passed for rescinding a contract, then the benefit obtained should be returned. Chapter 5, Section 31 states that if an instrument is adjudged to be void or voidable, then that instrument can be cancelled, and if it is cancelled, it should be intimated to the registering authority who has registered the instrument under the Indian Registration Act. Section 32 states that instruments can also be partially cancelled. Section 33 states that if an instrument is cancelled or declared void or voidable, then the benefit obtained through that instrument should be restored back. Chapter 7. Section 36 states that injunctions can be either temporary or perpetual. Section 37, temporary injunction is valid till the time it specified in the order or till the order is changed. Perpetual injunction permanently prevents defendant from interfering. Chapter 8, Section 38. If defendant is trustee of plaintiff property, to prevent multiplicity of proceedings, when the court is unable to ascertain the damages and compensation of money is inadequate, in all these circumstances, perpetual injunction can be granted. Section 39 states that mandatory injunction is one which prevents a breach or is one which directs a person to do something. Section 40 states that damages in lieu of injunction can be sought for, or damages in addition to injunction can also be sought for. And if injunction is dismissed or the suit for injunction is dismissed, then no damages can be claimed. Section 41 states that if a suit sought to restrain a person from judicial proceeding, or to restrain a person from applying to a legislative body, or to prevent a breach of specifically unenforceable contract, or to prevent nuisance when it is not clear whether it amounts to nuisance or not, and if continuing breach accepted by the plaintiff, and if other remedies are available, exception is breach of trust, and if it delays or impedes infrastructure products, or wrong conduct of the plaintiff or his agent, or plaintiff has no personal interest, in all these circumstances injunctions will be refused. And section 42 states that injunction to perform negative agreement, that is not to do a thing, can be enforced even if the affirmative agreement, agreement which states that a particular act to be done, cannot be enforced. Kindly subscribe to this channel for more such videos. Do press the bell icon and thumbs up button. If you want me to post any videos on specific subject, do post in comment sections. Thank you.